welcome to the August 4th, 2025 meeting of the Greensboro City Council. We are in the Katie Dorset Council Chambers. Please let the record reflect that all members are in attendance. We will begin tonight's meeting with a moment of silence. Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize Jordan Joyner. She is the National Miss Elementary America 5th grade. And I am going to ask Jordan to please lead us in the pledge. Jordan, would you like to?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Joyner, the reigning Miss Elementary America 5th grade 2025, and I will be leading the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand and put your hand over your heart. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Jordan, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Well, again, I'm Miss Elementary America 5th grade 2025, and Miss Elementary America is a pageant for young girls, and their platform is BRAVE, which is building respect and values for everyone, which is the anti-bullying platform. And how I show that is being student ambassador in my school, Simpkins Elementary. One time, I made an event called the Winter Wonderland, where everybody was having so much fun, and I talked to people about BRAVE and anti-bullying, and no one was getting bullied. Imagine a whole school not getting bullied and no one getting mad. And my platform is JoJo's Table. It's where I give out foods and drinks to people in need. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You have amazing poise.
Thank you so much.
For your age, what a wonderful thing you just said. And it's great to learn more about the pageant. How long have you been doing pageants?
I've been doing pageants since I was 5 months old.
Okay, so you are a veteran at this point. Yes. Well, we wish you luck as you go further along, and please let us know how you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
We did, yes. Mr. City Manager, could you please recognize our youth courier?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Good afternoon. Today's courier is a rising senior, Addison Glover. Addison has been an intern with the City Manager's office this summer, learning about the different roles of government in the City of Greensboro. Addison attends Piedmont Classical High School and is excited for her final year. She plans to study zoology and psychology and loves working with animals. Her goals are to help people out whenever help is needed and making life easier for all. It has been a pleasure having Addison in our office, and we look forward to her continued education. Thank you, Addison.
Thank you. Please silence any and all electronic devices. If you must make or receive a phone call, kindly do so from outside the council chamber. The City of Greensboro strongly encourages resident input at our meetings. It is the goal of the City Council that the Katie Dorset Council Chamber is a welcoming and safe space for all community members. In order to speak at tonight's meeting, individuals must sign up to speak by 6 p.m. If you signed up to speak online, you must let the courier know that you are in attendance. Speakers may address specific consent or business agenda items with 3 minutes allocated for their remarks. Speakers cannot relinquish their time to others, and the speaker's order is determined by the presiding officer. Depending on the number of speakers, council may adjust the time allocated for each person. Any handouts must be given to the courier for distribution. All speakers are expected to adhere to the rules of decorum. Any inappropriate or disruptive behavior will result in immediate removal from the meeting. Removal will result in a 3-month suspension from in-person participation. A second violation following the initial suspension will result in a 6-month suspension. A third violation or any instance involving physical altercations will lead to a 12-month suspension and may also result in criminal charges. Individuals who are suspended will still have the option to participate virtually via Zoom, ensuring their right to free speech is preserved. Zoom participants shall not speak until they are called upon. By statute, council members must vote on all items unless there is a direct financial interest or if they serve on a board of a nonprofit receiving funding on a specific item. All votes will be moved and seconded, and the presiding officer will announce the vote total. We have a consent agenda for items G1 through G9, which are a grouping of agenda items that are voted on with one single vote to expedite what is believed to be routine and non-controversial items. Any council member may withdraw an item from the consent agenda due to a conflict of interest or for the purpose of voting no. Items removed from the consent agenda for discussion will be placed on the next business agenda meeting. This meeting includes closed captioning. Depending on the length of tonight's meeting, we may take a short recess around 7:30. Now is the time for our ceremonial and/or presentation items. It is my honor to move the following resolution recognizing former WFMY TV anchor Sandra Hughes. Whereas the City of Greensboro is proud to honor and recognize Sandra Day Hughes, former WFMY TV anchor and trailblazing journalist. Whereas Ms. Hughes was born on October 18, 1946 in Durham, North Carolina, raised by her mother, a housekeeper, and her stepfather, an auto mechanic. Graduated from Notre Dame High School in 1964 and obtained her Bachelor's of Science in English Education from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in 1969. Whereas Ms. Hughes worked briefly for Western Technical as a technical publications editor. In July 1972, was hired by the Triad Area Columbia Broadcasting System, CBS affiliate, WFMY TV, as a general assignment reporter, a career that would last 43 years. Whereas in 1974, Ms. Hughes made local television history when she became the first African-American woman to host her own daily talk show in the Piedmont, Sandra and Friends, that aired live every day at 1 p.m. and was met with mixed reactions from the community, which often was beset production due to bomb threats. Whereas in 1976, Ms. Hughes was the first female broadcaster invited to participate in the European Communities Visitors Program, now known as the European Union Visitors Program. In 1978, was the first African-American woman in southeastern United States to host the nationally syndicated television show PM Magazine. Whereas in 1985, Ms. Hughes co-hosted the WFMY Good Morning Show with colleague Lee Keinert. Most notably, in 1985, Ms. Hughes was appointed manager of WFMY's TV's Community Affairs Department, which led to the beginning of her role in the To Those Who Care initiative in 1989. Whereas Ms. Hughes became the 6 o'clock p.m. news anchor at WFMY TV on December 1990 and spearheaded the Minority Broadcast Development Program in 1992. Whereas Ms. Hughes retired for the first time from WFMY-TV in 2010, taught at A&T as an adjunct professor of journalism in 2011. In 2016, she returned to WFMY-TV as the 6 o'clock p.m. anchor, retiring from the airwaves for good in 2017. Ms. Abuzuwaiter?
Whereas throughout her career, Ms. Hughes has been lauded and recognized, including being the recipient of the Edward R. Murrow Award for News Reporting from the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce. She was the first African American in the Piedmont to receive such an honor in 1995 and was recognized by A&T State University as a distinguished alumnus in 2002, and in 2002 was awarded the North Carolina Governor's Order of the Longleaf Pine, the highest award for state service granted by the Office of the Governor. July 24, 2002 was proclaimed Sandra Day Hughes Day by the Guilford County Commissioners, has received multiple Best of Gannett awards for news anchoring and specific programming. In 2006 was named an unsung hero by the International Civil Rights Center and Museum. In 2009 was given the Sojourner Truth Award by the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs, Incorporated, and she received the Chuck Stone Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Association of Black Journalists in 2014, one of the organization's highest and most coveted awards. Whereas WFMY-TV renamed its newsroom the Sandra Day Hughes Information Center, the National Academy of Television Art and Sciences inducted Ms. Hughes into the Silver Circle. The North Carolina Association of Broadcasters inducted her into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And North Carolina A&T State University bestowed upon Ms. Hughes an honorary doctorate of humanities. Whereas the City of Greensboro is humbled to recognize such an outstanding journalist, and now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that it hereby recognizes the hard work, accomplishments, and achievements of and by Sandra Day Hughes, and that the Greensboro City Council and the residents of Greensboro join us in thanking Ms. Hughes for her decades of service to our city and congratulating her for her hard work, efforts, and numerous achievements. I know that the mayor would like to motion this, and I would like to second.
Yes. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. Would you like to...
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gosh, I've been working, huh? I certainly hope that with all of you that are listening today, that you've had I've touched you in some way, and if not, please let me touch you when we leave today. That's good. Thank you very much. I am honored in more ways than I can tell you about this. This has just been wonderful. Thank you.
There's only one thing that Sandra Hughes does not do well, and that's talk about herself, so that's why I'm here. Sandra asked me to say a few words, and I'm glad we read all the accolades, because if we read them all, this would be the longest city council meeting in the history of the city. But what I want to talk about is who she was that most of you did not see, and that's who she was behind the scenes. So my first day on the job, I'm not going to tell them when I started watching you on TV and how old I was, Sandra. But I grew up watching her. And my first day at WFMY, I had never met her. Out of all the people in this market in TV, I'd never met her. And she came up to me and she goes, "I don't know you, but you're going to know me now, and give me a hug." Very first day. And ever since then, we've been best friends. We keep in touch constantly. And I'm here to tell you, not only was she the mother of the newsroom, but even people from other stations, when we're all so competitive back in those days in media, they all genuflect to Sandra every time she showed up. She is one of the classiest people I've ever met in my life, a consummate professional, and is a friend to everybody, the most giving person behind the scenes that you'll ever meet. I've never seen somebody that gave so much to not only her whole family, but her newsroom family, and then the family and the public. And I'm saying that from the deepest part of my heart. There aren't many people like Sandra Hughes. There are lots of broadcasters, but there are very few legends. Sandra Hughes is a legend.
Beautiful.
While the mayor's coming down, I just want to say, Ms. Hughes, hearing your voice, it feels like home. Like, it's so warm, and I miss seeing it and hearing it on the television. And I had the pleasure of giving Ms. Hughes the key to the city. I was looking at it. It must have been in 2010, the first time she retired.
And Madam Mayor, I'd like to say I don't know of anyone more sincere than Sandra Hughes, and she absolutely is one of the most generous people I know with her time and talents and just caring about everyone. So her compassion and consideration for everyone shows, especially, it showed from the day I first started watching her, and it's just like you feel that she's your best friend, and to me she is.
I don't know that people actually realize the stress that Sandra had to broadcast under. We mentioned briefly about the station having bomb threats, but people called in bomb threats because they did not want a black woman on the air. And one of those times, everybody evacuated the station except for one person. And she was not going to leave her post, and she was not going to let anybody run her out. And I want to thank you for being an amazing role model. Thank you. Okay, item E2 is a resolution recognizing August 4th, 2025 as National Farmers Market Week. Ms. Pinder?
This resolution honoring the 151st year legacy of the Greensboro Farmers Curb Market in celebration of National Farmers Market Week. Whereas the Greensboro Farmers Curb Market has served as a cornerstone of our community for 151 years, celebrating fresh food, local growers, artisans, community flavor, and fellowship in Greensboro, North Carolina since 1874, making it one of the oldest existing producer farmers markets in the nation. Whereas the Greensboro Farmers Curb Market connects farmers, food producers, artisans, makers, and friends to foster an equitable, nutritious food system and support local entrepreneurs in an inviting, inclusive community environment. Whereas the market strengthens our community's economic vitality by creating local jobs and generating tax revenue that directly benefits the greater Greensboro area and rural communities within a 100-mile radius, while preserving the Piedmont region's rich agricultural heritage passed down through generations of family farmers and supporting local food producers and artisan makers. Whereas citizens who support the market gain access to exceptionally fresh produce, often picked within 24 hours rather than after weeks in transit, ensuring superior taste, nutrition, and seasonal variety unique to our region's climate and tailored to local growing conditions, while also discovering handcrafted goods and artisan foods products that reflect the creativity and skill of local makers. Whereas community support of the market helps build resilient local food systems that will become increasingly important as transportation costs rise, while encouraging sustainable farming practices from family farmers who protect their land and water resources for future generations. Whereas the market contributes to reasonable land development that preserves open spaces and farmland from urban sprawl, ensuring that the Piedmont region maintains both its rural character and its capacity to feed itself sustainably. Whereas National Farmers Market Week, observed from August 3rd through the 9th through August 9th, 2025, provides an opportunity to recognize institutions like the Greensboro Farmers Curb Market that connect communities with local agriculture and artisan craftsmanship while fostering economic and environmental and social sustainability. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that the Greensboro City Council proudly honors the 151-year legacy of the Greensboro Farmers Curb Market and its lasting impact on the community. That the Council celebrates National Farmers Market Week and commends the market's continued support of local food, farmers, and families. Adopted this 4th day of August, 2025.
Second.
I move the item.
You move it. And that passes 9-0. Is there anyone here to receive that?
Thank you. I'm Chris Musselwhite. I'm chairperson of the nonprofit that runs the farmers market these days. And as I think many of you know, it really is one of the most beloved institutions in the city. So here's to another 150 years, maybe. Thank you.
That is it for our ceremonial and presentation items, so we will move to our public comment portion of our agenda where people have up to 3 minutes to speak on an item of their choosing. Normally, this is a time of listening for the City Council. Our first 3 speakers, and as I call your name, if you would come to the window side of the chamber, Michael O'Neill, Rachel York, Margaret Rowlett.
Hi, how's everyone? Thank you guys for allowing me to speak. I'm Michael O'Neill. I'm the co-executive of GSO Peace Corp. We partner with the City of Greensboro and the Department of Community Safety with Ms. Letitia McNeil. So I'm here today to speak about a project that we would like to get some help and support and possibly some funding with. It's a re-beautification of a park and basketball court in the neighborhood Summit Hills, which is located in the northeast area of Greensboro, which I believe is Miss Goldie Wells district. It has a lot of history, especially with the residents and the people in the area. It was originally just a slab, and the community came together, created the space, put up basketball goals for the kids to come together and have some safety in the community, a place together. So it's a community gathering space. We have put together a petition that has been signed and backed by the community. We want to re-beautify it and create a safe space for the kids to come, and it's a deterrent from crime, violence, and gangs, drugs, and alcohol. We would also like to dedicate it to a lifetime resident of the community. His name is Brandon James. When we were kids, we grew up together. We helped put the park together and maintain it with our fathers in the community, so it holds sentimental value to us. In 2021, he passed away from cancer. When we were kids, he had cancer. He survived, and he ended up passing in 2021, like I said, at the age of 41. So we would like to dedicate it to him and his children who still live in the community. Basically, we need to have the walkway repaved, the cement where the basketball court is repaved, put up goals, backboards, and also we would like to cover it in some type of foam material, which is better on the knees and the joints and the ankles for the kids and whoever participates. Possibly put up some benches, picnic tables, and things, a jungle gym possibly. And we have the community involved. There are other members of the community who've lived in the area, in the neighborhood, that want to, like one young man, his name is Cedric Agbo. He works for the city. He maintains the greenways. He has his own lawn care company, so he offered to maintain the area and the landscaping for a discounted price. We also have another resident of the community. He has offered to do the signage at a discounted price or for free possibly. Also, we have some cement and bricklayers in the community that would come out and do the work. So right now, I'm just introducing the project, planting the seed, putting it in you guys' ears. I gave her some things to hand over to you guys, some informationals. Hopefully we can get you guys to sign a petition and have your friends and family sign so we can get it done and find some funding. We're putting together a budget right now. That's my time.
That's your time.
Okay, so I'll be back next month with the budget and more handouts, and hopefully we can get your support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, my name's Rachel York. I am born and raised in Greensboro, and I'm here tonight to talk about the Transco pipeline that is being planned in our county, going through our county and Forsyth and all through the state. And I know that you've been meeting with other community members, some of you, about the pipeline recently, and I would like to voice my opposition to the pipeline and ask you to pass a resolution opposing the pipeline. I appreciate that this community does things like honor farmers markets, and last year you unanimously supported a resolution to plant natives on all government projects in the county or the city, and I think that that's such an important legacy for this community. And as someone who grew up here and who wants to live the rest of my life here, I want to live in a healthy, beautiful, sustainable community. And I think this pipeline not only is a threat to that, but is not safe in many ways, and Transco's statements on their safety protocol is not comforting. And there's this pattern of Duke, like energy companies like Duke, who profit from big projects like data centers and nuclear power plants, passing on all of those expenses to us, the ratepayers, whereas just like with this pipeline, we will not benefit from the energy. It will be for a data center, which I'm also really concerned about the environmental impact of all the data centers being built. So, and I'm very concerned too that our state legislature just passed the SB Bill 266, allowing Duke Energy to build a nuclear power plant that will pass on the cost to ratepayers. And if you look across the country, there are examples of this happening. And in South Carolina, there was a $9 billion project that had to be abandoned, but the ratepayers have to pay the debt. So, you know, I think it's really important that as a community that cares about the cost of energy, just for as consumers, but also on our environment, that we make a statement to our greater community that this is not a project that we support. So please consider opposing the pipeline.
After Ms. Rowlett, Carrie Thompson, LaRoya Daly, and Malik Hugh.
Good evening, Mayor Vaughn, Mayor Pro Tem Abuzawader, and members of the council. My name is Margaret Rowlett, and I live in District 3. I'm here as a member of the Clean Power Now Coalition, and I'd like to start by telling you about the meeting that our group had last week with the city's Office of Sustainability and Resilience, the OSR. So last Wednesday, 9 members of our coalition met with 5 staff members from OSR, including Dr. Sri Dorstant, our city's Chief Sustainability Officer. We had requested the meeting in order to discuss the city's Strategic Energy Plan, the SEP. We had read the annual report that the OSR issued for 2024 detailing progress being made on the SEP, and we had some follow-up questions. We were so appreciative of the time that the members of the OSR staff spent with us, and we're so happy to learn about all the hard work they're doing to achieve the goals of the SEP. I hope each of you on the council has had a chance to learn about the data that the OSR is collecting on the city's electricity use and the analysis that they're doing of the energy consumption of multiple municipal buildings. The OSR is using this data to figure out ways to minimize energy consumption and thereby cut down on costs and greenhouse gas emissions. As you know, recently the city reported it had cut its greenhouse gas emissions from its operations by 40% over 2005 levels. Let's celebrate that achievement and congratulate the OSR for its efforts to make that goal. Also at our meeting, OSR staff updated us on the city's LEED designation, and we were very excited to learn that the city's going to seek a gold level designation when it applies for recertification in 2026. If we reach gold, we should definitely celebrate that achievement too. We want to see all of the progress that the city is making in sustainability and resilience continue, and I know you do too. But we are facing some strong headwinds. Our coalition is very concerned about plans being made by our utility, Duke Energy, to bring more energy from natural gas into our grid. This will greatly interfere with your commitment to transition our city to its operations to 100% renewable energy by 2040. For that reason, we oppose any additional natural gas lines being brought through our state, and we ask you to oppose them too. Specifically, please pass a resolution stating that you oppose the construction of the proposed pipeline for our area. Duke Energy is planning to buy a significant portion of that natural gas, which will only hinder our continued progress in achieving our energy goals. Please oppose the additional use of methane gas on our grid, and please support the work and the budget of the OSR.
Thank you.
Hello. Sorry, I always have to adjust that. Sorry. Thank you all for having us all here tonight, Mayor and the rest of the council. My name is Carrie Thompson. I'm the Director of Family Room Foster Care Resource Center. I have seen you all before. Many of you have been to our facility. Most of you have in front of you, I'm sorry, I was one short, a very long list of 416 young children that have been served at Family Room just this year as they entered a new foster home. That's a 25% increase from last year. We served 565 kids last year as they entered a new foster home. As of last week, we have served kids in 45 of the 100 counties who have entered foster care right here in Greensboro. We are making a significant impact on the foster care community throughout the state of North Carolina, and I'm here to share with you guys tonight that we have just launched a capital campaign to buy land and build a building here in Greensboro. Yes, we are very excited about that, and so I invite each one of you to look over that list, that 12-page list of names of kids that we have served. Look over our core values and our vision and our mission statement, and please come see Family Room and meet with myself and our board and our staff to find ways that we can partner with the Council of Greensboro. Family Room is a beautiful representation of who Greensboro is throughout the whole state. I met with a funder this week. Actually, it was Friday. They funded us last year. They don't normally fund outside their county. And I said, well, why? Why did you fund Family Room last year? And she said, we searched the entire state. We cannot find anyone in the state of North Carolina that does what Family Room does. And we want to make sure that you not only continue to do what you're doing, but grow and serve more kids as they need it. Imagine being 5 and coming into foster care right away, and in minutes you lose your parents and all your clothes and your toys and your school because you had to change counties. That is why we serve every kid. We serve kids that are transported to Mecklenburg County from Greensboro, from High Point, from Guilford County. We serve kids that are transported to Guilford County from Mecklenburg County because they can't find foster homes in their counties, and they come with nothing. And the foster parents can call Family Room. There's a family there right now that called this afternoon that had 3 kids placed in her home, and they showed up at her door with nothing. And she's there with a volunteer getting everything she needs. This happens every day here in Greensboro. So I invite you all again to come visit us. What I was going to say is written out. I speak from the heart. So in case I missed anything, please email us, call us, come visit us, and hear more about the ways that we are going to continue to serve kids in foster care throughout North Carolina here in Greensboro. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you only had enough for 8, so can you make sure I get a copy? I've been to your family room, so I know what you do, and I know somebody who's adopted 2 foster kids, so we know what you do, so thank you for your service. Just send me this.
Thank you, and I just wanted to say, Carrie has spoken to a group that I'm in, and sometimes the calls come in the middle of the night where I know that one case there were like 4 or 5 children, they needed to be placed immediately, and they found a home, but the children came with absolutely nothing, and she and her staff made sure in the middle of the night that everything was done, so there's a lot of success stories with that, so thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is LaRoya Daly. I came and spoke last month. I am the city worker that got retaliated on. There was a member of the UE 150 that the city allowed us to participate in as being a worker there. I met with Sharon Hightower, like I said before. We met discussing wages and practices and stuff that were going on Patton Avenue under Griffin Hatcher and Lonzo Frick that were going on. I was retaliated not even 7 days after meeting with her, after she communicated things back to, and I kept her in communication to what was going on. So since they didn't want to do right, which like I said, I'm not going to be quiet. This is a paper I want to show right here that was sent out to every employee on Patton Avenue when they fired me. This is not a practice that the city has. This is not even in y'all policy. As you can read, they're telling my fellow peers not to talk to me because I was still going over there to their medical department due to me being in an accident in the truck. You can show the other part. And it's basically saying for them not to speak with me, for them to contact Human Resources Dominique Mann. How are you going to contact her? Anything dealing with the union, because she can't be a part of it and she knows nothing about it. Like I said, since I have several other documents, because I started collecting stuff once I seen I was being retaliated on. I have voice conversations with Ms. Hightower, several other ones. So since no one wants to hear me, this is what I have filed right here. You can show them this. I did appeal with y'all assistant city manager, and I guess she went along with whatever was said, whatever lies is being brought about, but I'm going one way or another to get the truth out there. I was retaliated on because I know too much information, because I was a person that stood up for what was right. And I'm going to keep coming up here and anywhere else I got to go. And I don't care who has to be exposed, but this got to stop. Everybody has a voice. We elect y'all to be up there. So when something wrong goes wrong with us, y'all supposed to be the ones that back us up, including the city manager. And he just went over there and had a meeting with them. And do he know the guy that he's spoken to and asked the question, and he said from the top it's messed up all the way to the bottom? He got wrote up. So this is a practice that Griffin Hatcher and Alonzo Frick is steady. This stuff is steady going on over there. And these people is steady calling me, and I'm steady collecting information and steady collecting proof.
Thank you.
So I just want somebody to do right by me, starting with me. Y'all have a good day. If you want any copies, I'll make a copy of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
After Mr. Hugh,
Can you leave it, LaRoya, can you leave that?
Sharon, were you saying something?
I asked LaRoya, could she leave that information so we can get a
You
copy?
want a copy of the lien, or you want a copy of the email and stuff?
Yeah,
That
everything,
I got
everything,
that was sent. You want a copy of
all of it.
So now you want help. Okay.
Well, you know I've been talking to you, but you know I reach a point where you know what happens.
Okay, I'm sorry, you can't speak off mic.
Hey, City Council.
After Mr. Hugh, we have Tony Hayes, followed by Jason Hicks on Zoom, followed by Reverend Greg Drumright. Malik, go ahead.
Hey, how y'all doing this afternoon? I got a couple of things that I want to bring up, and one of my things is I first want to show y'all one thing, and my first one is going to be my claim that I have put in for GTA, and y'all see it in just a second on your screens. It's one of the claims I just got filed today. GTA has been treating me with disrespect, with a lot of things that I have problems. I can't bring my wagon on the bus. A lot of people have bringing big bags on the bus and stuff. So now I'm bringing this to a light. That way I had to put this plane in today because I am now trying to go up to the next level because I don't like how GTA is treating me. They have been treating me disrespectful, wrong. They have been trying to show different areas. They've been picking and choosing who they want to ride the bus, who they want to be able to ride on that bus. And they will not let me bring my wagon on. I've had to load a lot of stuff. I can't lift 100 pounds to have to lift out of my wagon, put it in a seat. I'm not trying to hold up no seat for no other passengers. I'm trying to get on the bus, go to an appointment. They have missed appointments and stuff. My second thing is I want to talk about this. Y'all know after we had to be paid for the rooms that we had at Studio 6 on Gate City Boulevard. Well, now they're trying to hit me with a bill. They're trying to hit me with a bill to have me pay for the room. They're trying to throw that I kind of like cussed out somebody at the hotel. City manager Trey Davis, if you can look into this for me and try to figure out some way that we can, because this right here, I'm gonna show y'all. I know it's probably gonna be hard to see, but the bill is high. The bill is high. And yes, they tried to, and it's coming from the city, from when we had to be put in hotel rooms. Plenty of y'all can see it, even the whole audience can see this. This bill right here, I was in a hotel room for 100 and some days. And my friend, Chandrika Malone, she's the one that helped put us in the hotel rooms. I feel like I shouldn't have to be the one that be paid for. I shouldn't have to be the one counted for having to pay for this bill. It's coming from the city. It's coming from one of your departments that had to pay for these rooms. Yes. And another thing, real quick, I got one quick thing to say.
Malik, your time is up, but could you make a copy of that bill for us? If you bring it back to April, she'll get a copy for us. Mr. Hicks?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. My name is Jason Hicks. It's obvious most of you don't like what I say or how I say it. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here for truth, transparency, and accountability. Here's the truth. Downtown Greensboro Incorporated and Zach Matheny have violated their contract with the City of Greensboro. That contract, along with the city's own conflict of interest policy, explicitly prohibits elected officials from financially benefiting from city-funded agreements. Zach Matheny, while serving as both a council member and CEO of DGI, is in clear violation. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's written in your own documents. Yet this council refuses to act. And let's not forget, Matheny is currently under investigation by the State Bureau of Investigation. So I ask, why is he still voting on DGI matters? Why is this body pretending its own ethic rules don't apply when it's one of your own? This isn't just unethical, it's a systemic failure. And every taxpayer in Greensboro should be alarmed. And the violations don't stop there. The contract is just as clear about spending. Hotels and entertainment are ineligible expenses. Also ineligible are meals. Yet since 2019, Matheny has burned through over $100,000 of taxpayer funds on meals and entertainment. $1,500 in Palm Springs, Florida. Thousands at the Greensboro Country Club. Over $3,000 on a single meal at B. Christopher's. $7,700 in hotel charges for a single out-of-state conference. $1,200 at the Waldorf Astoria. Taxpayer money, not private funds, not personal donations, public money, not a Hampton Inn in sight. We asked for transparency. For years, we were denied, and now we know why. When we finally saw the ledgers, it was obvious. DGI operates without oversight and without restraint. Now let's talk about accountability. Section 5 of the contract is a termination for cause states if the contractor fails to comply with the terms of the contract, the city will give notice of default.
30 seconds.
Not may, but the city will give notice of default. This is not optional. You have a legal obligation, a fiduciary duty. So I ask you, who among you will speak truth to power and make that motion tonight? Who is providing oversight of taxpayer money? Who is upholding the law? You weren't elected to cover for each other. You were elected to serve the city. Thank you.
Mr. Hayes?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tony Hayes. I live at 1514 Dunbar Street. I guess most everybody knows who I am because, you've been trying to get rid of me. I'm getting ready to move from the City of Greensboro because, your people is not fair with anything you do. Everything you do up here is not fair. And the thing is, and I'm telling you this, I've been here 72 years, and after 72 years, Greensboro still is the same thing. It's gone down to the dogs. And Mr. Charlie can do anything. Well, when Mr. Tom do it, it's against the law. But the thing is, I can tell you this. I asked y'all a question last week, last month I was up here. How many cars do y'all own? You see, I didn't get an answer. But you can think when you say, you can go to my house and tell me I have too many cars. But the thing is, every one of my cars got tags on and they were run. And you keep sending code enforcement, zoning, and everybody else out there and saying I'm not legal. But the thing is, how many cars does Greensboro buy every day? Look out here in the parking lot out there. How many cars y'all got out there you don't drive? Look right here over here on Market Street over here, all them abandoned cars you got over there. You don't drive, you can't move. But you want the people to buy them. But that's how the city is. But the thing is, I was going to run for the city mayor, but the thing is, I'm getting ready to move out of the city of Greensboro. Because, Greensboro ain't worth 2 cents to stay in there no more. Thank you.
After after Reverend Drumright, Irvin Allen, Gene Blackman, and Dennis White.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and to this entire council and staff, most of you all who I consider to be friends. I'm here in my capacity as the lead organizer of Justice for the Next Generation, also to stand in solidarity with community organizations and the beloved citizens of Greensboro who, in some cases, not all, have been treated as barbaric, as if they're not deserving of decency and the judgment of deference concerning unnecessarily violent encounters with our police. If that statement seemed jarring to you, perhaps the video documenting Savon Johnson and Amon Moore's arrest and recent violent encounters with our officers might prove to be horrifying. That video has been viewed over 600,000 times and counting, because it's not just another police stop turned violent, but because there are members of our community that are concerned if it could happen to them next. Watching our officers berate, punch, wrangle these men who had displayed both their hands to show no sign of threat to the officers that had pulled them over for a regulatory stop has activated our voices and our advocacy tonight. I would generally be meeting with these men and many others. For the last 10 years, I've held a men's meeting with black men of our community on Monday night, but we're out here to repurpose our time to stand with these young men and the concerned citizens of our community. After all the cases that our city has had to settle concerning police violence, nearly $7 million in the last 7 years to defend police officers who use unnecessary force, and that's a fact. That money should have gone to fund our homeless or our houselessness issue, our food epidemic, insecurity epidemic, or any of the nonprofits doing the most good with the least. Instead, it has gone to pay off families of victims of police violence. And so, I'm here to ask that you all would join me in our call for police reform in our city. Would you consider ending regulatory stops, lifting up your voices with me to end the safety and frisk policy, to implement a written consent policy during stops, and the firing of B.W. McDaniel? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Firing of Officer B.W. McDaniel. B.W. McDaniel. Thank you.
So I have a question, Mayor. Pastor Drumright, I have a quick question. You said there was a video that was seen over
600,000 times and counting.
And where is that? Is that one that we have a copy of as well? Because last time I was going to ask for the body-worn camera footage.
It's a social media post.
That's a post, so
Yes.
it's not a
Yes.
body-worn camera
Yes.
footage that we have access to or we can get access to.
And if I had 10 more seconds, I would have asked for that body camera footage to be made public.
I am asking for it right now. I don't
Thank
know
you,
if it'll be
Councilwoman
made public, but we have to first get permission if we can see it. If that's, yeah. So I would like to know something that's been seen 600,000 times. Interested. Yes.
That was a post that was made by one of the young men that was in the interaction. This body-worn camera footage is part of an investigation. The law does not allow for its release at this time, nor does it allow for its disclosure at this
But it
time.
doesn't allow for us to ask for it. It still doesn't. It doesn't stop us from asking for it.
Right, you're correct. It doesn't stop you from asking for it, and I can speak with Chief Thompson and professional standards, because this is also an internal investigation into some of the complaints. But as far as Pastor Drumright, he will not be able to see it.
I understand that part, and I think he does, but this council has a right to ask for it.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's what I'm doing. Now, if that means it has to go to court, and we have to wait for whatever that outcome is. But we've heard this from before, a month ago, this was brought up. So I am asking for it. So I would like for that request to be granted, even just asking the police chief to send that forth.
And perhaps until that is granted, that access to that video is granted to you, you might visit these social media posts, because video pictures just don't lie. I'm not here to grandstand. I've also spoke with Chief Thompson, and he and I have agreed to meet on this issue as well.
Thank you.
Right.
We can get you that information before we leave here tonight. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
Madam City Attorney, a question for you regarding the video. We can ask for it. It goes through the process because it is under an investigation. At this point in time, the body-worn camera, who can see that video?
Anyone, so there's two types of viewing of body-worn camera footage. There's something called disclosure, where anyone that's depicted in the video, whose face and image and voice is in the video, can view it by going over to headquarters. Then the disclosure is when you actually release it and put it down on a thumb drive. General Statute 132 protects it from being disclosed, which means it cannot at this point be put down on a thumb drive. The reason why council may not be able to see it by law is because no one on council's face or voice is depicted in it. And so I will have.
So if someone's face or voice is depicted, then they have access to it now?
That's not right.
They can, they can go and view it. They cannot get it in their possession. And the reason why they may not be able to go and view it at this time is because it's not only under investigation with the district attorney's office, but it's also going through an internal affairs investigation with professional standards. And so until that's clear and they come out with their internal findings, I can ask if you all can go over to professional standards, but I will not be able to download it and just pass it out.
We're not expecting it to be passed out, but we have had experience with body-worn camera footage before. We have asked for it before, so we understand. But however, we can see it. We know that the public can't unless whoever's in it grants that permission or their lawyer. They can see it as well. But we can see it if it's requested and it goes to court, and they allow us to. The court does.
I think the difference is, Sharon, that we saw the video right before it was being released publicly. That's when we were able to see it.
But we put in a request for it regardless. It was out there.
We did, but it was when it was going to be released publicly. We couldn't see it. We are considered public. We got to see it, and then it was released that night. I believe what our city attorney is saying is that it's not at the stage where it can be released publicly, even if we petition for it.
I will certainly ask, though. I'll work on that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, counsel, for your questions into this. And please allow me to say that I'm not here to allege that all of our cops are doing this.
Thank you.
Or that all of our cops are bad. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Irvin Allen? I didn't think so. All right, we'll come back. Mr. Blackman?
Good evening. My name is Gene Blackman. The gentleman that Pastor Drumright just spoke of, Savon Johnson and Amon Moore, along with their cousin, Lamonte Glover, was stopped on May 13th, and we had that whole situation. Since then, those gentlemen have been stopped 4 times. My question to you all is, at what point does it become harassment? Like, that's a serious, legit question that I'd like to know. Like, at what point is it harassment? Okay. I ask you all to join us in asking the department to end regulatory stops, end the safety frisk, which is what we believe is the Greensboro version of stop and frisk. We ask that you all join us in asking for implementation of written consent and to fire Officer McDaniel. Thank you.
Thank you. After Mr. White, we have C.C. Crawford, C.J. Brinson, and Terrell Williams.
So, Madam Mayor, before he speaks, can I just ask one quick other question? Last month, this came up again, safety, regulatory stops and stop and frisk or whatever. And I asked the question, I'm going to ask it again. Where is G.C. Jack in the midst of all this? Because they should be exploring this. And I don't understand, where are they? What is their purpose?
Microphone. Could you say that again?
I said, Madam Councilwoman, I know that they are in tune to this. An email went out to the GC Jack members today asking them if they would watch this council meeting tonight so that when they get into their next meeting that they can discuss this.
Yeah, because they've already had 3 different liaisons, so even they are unstable with what they're doing. But the whole purpose of the GC Jack was to look at these stops and look at the data and look at the numbers and come back. And I haven't heard anything from them in quite a long while. So I'm hoping to hear more from them about this because it is a concern for the community and we need to be addressing it.
Mr. White?
Yes. Excuse me. Good evening, Council. Reverend Dennis White, 2501 Harley Drive. Thank you. Appreciate that. At the beginning of this meeting, this city council admired and clapped for the young lady who gave the Pledge of Allegiance, a black girl in the 5th grade who I'm sure considered it a privilege and an honor to be present and contribute to this meeting tonight. What I am asking is for this city council to turn their energy toward giving her a chance to clap for you. She was complimented on her poise. Are the people that clapped for her and complimented her going to continue to ask her to grow up in a city that requires her to show that same poise in a scenario as intense as an interaction with a police officer? Are the people that clapped for her and complimented her going to ask her to continue to live in a city that won't place a definitive barrier between her and the dangers of unchecked police power? Every black child will not look like that young lady. I imagine that she has relatives and friends that are not as polished or well-presenting. I imagine that she has relatives and friends that look like Amon Moore, Savon Johnson, and the other young men who experienced that traumatic traffic stop on May 14th, who deserve to be treated with the same dignity and respect that we so readily affirmed in her. I've had conversations with people about why certain things haven't changed or why progress on certain issues in this city has stalled, and the recurring reply is that these changes sound too much like right. At this moment, Greensboro seems decidedly indecisive on the matter of police accountability. It appears that police accountability sounds too much like right. This evening, I'm encouraging the city of Greensboro to get off the fence of right, to do something worthy of the applause of the young lady who opened this meeting and demonstrate clear alignment with a safe future for all of Greensboro's children by honoring these demands. We are asking the department to end regulatory stops, end the safety frisk, implement written consent policy for conducting searches, and fire Officer Braden Walker McDaniel. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cecily Crawford. I live at 502 High Street, and I come before you not just as a resident, but as someone who has lived through what so many in our city face. I once drove a 20-year-old van, loosely maintained, slowly repaired, part by part, with the help of a trusted mechanic. When the check engine light came on, we replaced several parts and finally discovered the problem was a catalytic converter. And I had every receipt in the glove box to prove it, but no matter how far I drove, the light would not go off. And because of that, I couldn't pass the inspection and I couldn't get my tags renewed. So I got pulled over, ticketed, not because I was a danger to anyone, but because I was poor, black, driving an old van, and doing the best I could. I had a long road with the courts and ended up paying a lawyer and having to pay to get my license reinstated because of a sticker on a tag that I was taking seriously. And I know I'm not alone. I know people like these young men who have been stopped for having a broken taillight or a headlight that they didn't even realize was out, or were just trying to make it to payday to get it fixed. This isn't about safety. This was a regulatory stop, a form of policing that disproportionately targets black and low-income drivers. Those stops don't prevent harm, they punish hardship. We see this reflected in the numbers too. In Greensboro, black residents make up 42% of the population, and yet we are over 53% of traffic stops. That means black drivers here are roughly 25% more likely to be stopped than their white neighbors. And it doesn't stop there. Statewide, black drivers are not only likely to be stopped, they're more likely to be searched after a stop. Even those studies show they are less likely to be found with contraband than white drivers. That means police are using a lower standard of suspicion that affects black drivers. It's not about safety, it's about who they believe they can treat differently and how they view black people. Yesterday, I was at a meeting where we saw a young man pulled over by UNC, 4 UNCG police officers. So we stepped outside, we bore witness because we know how that stop could end. It ended up with them searching his vehicle. We didn't hear them ask him for permission to search his vehicle. And in the end, they took his tags and left, but it could have been and could have had a much different outcome. So that's why I'm asking you tonight to make meaningful steps towards police accountability and end regulatory stops that criminalize poverty, prohibit safety frisks, implement a written consent policy, and fire officers who are abusive, like Mr. McDaniels.
Thank you. Reverend Brinson? And Terrell Williams? Mr. Williams?
Peace, community members. So I'm here today because my community members called on me and I want to be responsible. I'm interested in being responsible despite being a 25-year-old black man growing up in a world that forces you to lean towards the opposite. When I was 9, the murder of Trayvon Martin took place. A couple years later, the murder of Mike Brown took place. We then saw this pattern continue all throughout my youth and my young adulthood, and continuing to see it persist. What I've learned that it means to be responsible is to wrestle with tough questions. And like many of my community members tonight, I've come in here to wrestle with the question of how do we keep each other safe? How do we keep each other safe from the conditions that reduce people to using violence as a means to survive? How do we keep people safe from poverty, housing, joblessness? What does it mean to actually authentically engage and wrestle with these questions of what it means to keep each other safe? So with that being said, I'm going to urge the City Council to join me and my community members in being responsible. And you can do that by doing all you can in your position and outside of your position to end regulatory stops, to engage your community members in these conversations. We would like you to stop the stop and frisk measures that Greensboro has persisted in, and also to fire Officer McDaniel and all other officers who persist in this brutal force against young black people and black people across the city of Greensboro. Yield my time.
After Reverend Brinson, we have Teron Lilly, Lynn McCoy, and Nadine Malpass.
Reverend C.J. Brinson, Umoja Church. And the truth is, this city has never wanted us to have body camera footage. North Carolina has the most restrictive body camera footage in the country, and it gets its traction here in Greensboro, North Carolina. I want to say these names: Lamont Armstrong, James Fields, Marie Robinson, Devin Scales, Rufus Scales, Ashley Buchanan, DeJuan Yorsay, Jose Charles, Marcus Dion Smith, Zared Jones, Paulika Jasmine Harrison, Nasanto Crenshaw, and Levon LaForest Sanders. Out of all these cases, I want to know if any of these persons' name won a complaint against the department. Because the last time that we were here, a mother was denied justice because it was told to her that she hadn't followed through with those who were conducting an investigation around a complaint. An internal process that the community knows doesn't side with the community. Yet most of these names that I named tonight, they have won their cases in settlements against the city. Lost complaints, yet won settlements. I'm here tonight because I want us to end the politics which upheld police corruption. And let's do what is right. Let's end the practice of harassing families that come forth around police brutality. You've already heard these young men have been stopped 5 additional times. Since the murder of George Floyd, police killings in this country have increased, not decreased. It's 2025. Let's have some courage to do what is right for black and brown citizens in the city. Let's end regulatory stops. Let's end safety frisk. Let's implement written consent. And let's fire B.W. McDaniel. The last, which we all know, is a long shot. But once again, we know that officers who are not reprimanded, they reoffend. And so we want to be out publicly on this particular officer who is still on duty at the mall, policing our community. We want to be out front saying his name so when he does reoffend, there'll be public record about his misbehavior. And I want to ask that since our last time that we were here, has there been any move from anyone on the council to bring forth some motions around some of the things that we've raised? Thank you for allowing me to share.
Good evening, City Council members. Thank you. Thanks again for allowing me to speak on the important subject of police accountability. Last month, I spoke about the desirability...
Could you please give us your name?
I'm sorry. Lynn McCoy, and I live at 5018 Lorinda Drive, Greensboro. Last month, I spoke about the desirability of a departmental practice of true community policing, among other things I spoke about. I know about community policing because I was director of a national law enforcement refugee community partnership when I worked for the National Crime Prevention Council. For many of the programs I worked with around the country, police established community policing practices so the two communities, police and refugees, could start to establish trust, so that if there were problems because of cultural misunderstandings, they could communicate directly and solve the problems without violence or increased distrust on either side. This worked everywhere they did it. The police chiefs and captains I got to know unfailingly spoke very highly of the effectiveness of community policing on many different levels. After the community comments last month, I understand that Hugh Holston, Sharon Hightower, Goldie Wells, and Jamila Pinder spoke positively of the possibility of beginning a regular practice of true community policing in Greensboro. These council members are all black. I just wonder why the white council members didn't join in this discussion of this effective practice. However, I read today in the Assembly that, unless I read wrong, the department is receiving almost $2 million from the U.S. Department of Justice's Office of Community-Oriented Policing, and that the city will match with almost $900,000. I read that this money will be used to hire 15 more officers. I would like to follow the development and progress of this effort. I wonder if this funding will be used for other elements of community policing other than officers' salaries, such as storefronts and shopping centers. I also wonder what period of time this funding is to cover. This is a very positive step, and I really commend the City of Greensboro and the City Council for this. However, I join the others in asking the department and asking the City Council to ask the Department of Police to end regulatory traffic stops and focus on safety stops, which keep our streets safer, and to end safety frisk, which promotes distrust in the community, and to implement written consent so that there are no different stories about whether they got consent or not. And finally, to fire not only Officer McDaniel, but other officers with a record of mistreating our citizens. Thank you.
When we move to the business portion of our agenda, we will be talking about the COPS grant that we've gotten from the federal government.
And Madam Mayor, could I just ask one quick question? If there was a meeting, there were 4 council members there. If we put a 5th one in there, we would be having an illegal meeting, and I was unaware of a meeting. So
That meeting, there was no meeting. She was talking about right here in council.
were you talking about
She
in
was
council
talking about right
chambers?
here. I said something.
We've all been
No,
for
she
community
was talking about
policing.
right here.
I thought you meant there was a separate meeting. I'm so sorry. I apologize. But yes, we are all in support of community policing.
It was a council meeting. It was concerns that our community brought forth.
Thank you for clarifying. The way it was expressed, I thought there was a meeting, so I apologize, Mrs. Hightower.
You could give us your name.
Yes. I'm Taryn Lilly. That's how it's pronounced. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of City Council. Let me begin by saying policy does not inform people. People inform policy. And tonight, the people are informing you regulatory stops are not only dangerous, but they can be deadly. Research on police traffic stops has consistently found widespread racial disparities, with black drivers more likely than white drivers to be pulled over for the same offenses as their white counterparts. And in North Carolina, black drivers were 63% more likely to be pulled over and 115% more likely to be searched during a traffic stop than white drivers. In Greensboro, in 52.9% of regulatory stops, the driver is black. So, to be clear, that is more than half of all regulatory traffic stops conducted by the Greensboro Police Department. Evidence is clear, and systemic racial disparities in traffic enforcement show that regardless of intentions, the harms of traffic stops outweigh potential public safety benefits. Traffic stops result in neither increased trust in the police nor increased perceptions of safety among community members. In fact, they often have the opposite effect, and only 3% of regulatory stops lead to a search. I landed in Greensboro in 2020 to attend Guilford College, and when I left the city after the graduation, it felt like my heart was left behind too. I returned to study for my master's in peace and justice studies, and during my program, we learned all sorts of things that I'll now tell you for free. One of the first things we learned in the program was the concept of negative peace, where peace is defined as the absence of violence, versus positive peace, where the root causes of violence are addressed to bring conditions where people aren't trying to survive in fear but flourish in color. Addressing this problem at its core prevents reoccurrences and drives continuous improvement, making this a safer community for everyone. After listening to my fellow speakers, it is very clear that the solutions proposed here tonight will lead to a sustainable and positive peace. I graduated in May, but I'm still here and I stayed because I love this city. And during my 4 years here, I never had to look far to see symptoms of suffering within Greensboro. Incidents like the one that happened on May 13th can be avoided if we look at the policies that enabled them to happen. I urge you, City Council members, to not pile onto the destruction of the city that we all love. My fellow speakers and I are urging you to take action. As a resident and lover of the city, I encourage you to join other innovators like Mecklenburg County to get rid of regulatory stops as a standard practice in Greensboro. Thank you so much.
Thank you. After Ms. Malpass, Christine Hepner, Paulette Montgomery, last call for Irving Allen. Those are the only speakers I have signed up to speak. If I have not called your name, please see the courier.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. My name is Nadine Malpass. I'm representing United Way of Greater Greensboro at 1500 Yanceyville. I'm not here to ask for money. I'm here to share a little bit of good news and some things that you probably already know about some of the fine employees that work for the city and county. We are starting our first responders drive on September 11th through October 16th. This came from a partnership from United Way, the city, and the county, because during City Academy, when we were touring the police department, one of the members of the academy shared how her daughter routinely, who is a police officer, her family donates items because in her community, policing in neighborhoods would give things out to children and different people. And it was an amazing story, but her family was providing this police officer these things. So when we went to talk to the city, the police chief and the fire chief, and we found out that this is very common, that a lot of these employees are relying on their family and friends to do this. So the first responders drive really came out as a pilot last year, and we're so excited. What this drive does is equip first responders to provide practical items, moral support, and information on 211 that will empower community members experiencing hardships, homelessness, and difficult moments. First responders are often asked to reverse a lifetime of underlying factors in a matter of just a few moments. We're collaborating to address these root challenges, and we need support. So the first responder drive will go out. We're very excited. We actually asked the police officers and the firemen and EMS what they needed and not just what we thought we needed. So we're so very excited about that. To support community, why we're doing this is to support community members in difficult moments. A gift of a warm sock, a hygiene kit, or a stuffed animal may provide someone with practical help or emotional support that will make a small difference in a difficult moment. Because 1 ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I just want to share kind of a story that you'll be seeing, and we're going to do a whole piece on that, but I didn't want you all to be caught off guard. Meeting crisis with care, the impact of a first responder's drive, every warm pair of socks, hygiene kit, and even a small toy that you helped collect during last year's first responder drive is already at work in our community. Through this drive, first responders across Guilford County and the City of Greensboro were equipped with tangible items to share with people in crisis, many whom are experiencing homelessness, poverty, and compounding hardship. These donated items aren't just practical, they're deeply personal. They help transform brief interactions into moments of dignity, trust, and in many cases, the first steps towards assessing real support. The Greensboro police officers' compassion on the front lines. Officer Jefferson of the Greensboro Police Department serves as a community resource officer working directly with individuals and families experiencing overlapping challenges. Homelessness. You'll be hearing her story more. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Christine Hoffner. Last year, a group of us from League of Women Voters asked Chief Thompson to end regulatory stops. His response was that people want the police presence they provide, but many people want a different kind of police presence. Due to the threat GPD's culture of policing poses, many in impacted communities experience the stops themselves as dangerous. Many people felt safer in 2016 exactly because Chief Scott suspended these stops. This happened when city officials were made to face the racial disparity. That's still a problem, and now even more so. The standard comparison, as we've heard, is black Greensboro residents, almost 42%, to black drivers for all traffic stops, 2002 till now, at 53%. But that disparity has gotten worse more recently, and even worse for regulatory stops. GPD studied data from 2002 to 13, and I studied 2014 to 24. GPD found for all stops, black drivers were then 50%. I found it's gone up to 60%. But regulatory stops, where GPD had black drivers at 60%, has increased to 68%. So far in 2025, the disparity in regulatory stops is up again. Black drivers are now at an unnerving 73%. Each day, on average, I found 4 whites are stopped, but 15 black drivers are. And so far this year, there's been more regulatory stops than safety stops. This is the first time since suspension of stops. League of Women Voters pointed the chief to a bipartisan NC state task force that includes law enforcement officers, police chiefs, and local elected officials. It produced a public safety traffic stops policy. This specifies officers are to focus on hazardous violations that most impact public safety. These include, but aren't limited to, speeding, dangerous movement like running red lights, reckless driving, driving while impaired, and child seatbelt violations. The policy states outright that, in general, officers should not make a stop for one or even multiple instances of regulatory infractions. When Fayetteville Police instituted a similar policy, racial disparities decreased, as did injuries to citizens and officers and complaints against officers. Safety stops increased and public safety improved overall. I urge Council to instate written consent, end safety frisk, and fire Officer McDaniel. I also urge you to adopt and codify a focus on public safety traffic stops policy. This would provide, to paraphrase Mr. Blackman, safety with justice.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paulette Montgomery, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Free Guilford to talk about police accountability. From the Woolworth sit-in, the Greensboro massacre, Marcus Dion Smith, Zara Jones, the Scales brothers, and now Amon and Savon. I could go on, but 3 minutes is not enough time, unfortunately. I know it's a big ask, but why can't Greensboro be the city that makes real change for once? A city that holds their police officers accountable for their actions. A city that other cities aspire to be. We can achieve this with action on the following procedures. We ask that the department end regulatory stops. GPD's known mistreatment of black and brown drivers puts them on edge and anxious. When stopped, they may face disrespect or the devastating sense that their life is in danger if their movements are misinterpreted. And they may be in real danger when a gun is put in their face. We also ask to end the safety frisk, which we believe is Greensboro's version of the stop and frisk. We ask Greensboro to implement the written consent policy that was previously recommended 5 years ago in 2020. Lastly, we demand that Braden Walker McDaniel's employment with Greensboro be terminated immediately. That is how you hold officers accountable for their decisions. I know we can't change history, but we can write a new future, one where everyone is treated the same, no matter the color of their skin. Thank you.
So those are all. Mr. Allen, do you want to speak? All right, well.
Thank you kindly, Madam Mayor. Council, my name is Irving Allen, 1209 Haverhill Drive. Speaking on behalf of what I imagine that a lot of folks have been speaking here tonight. I see a lot of smiling faces. But we are looking forward to working with the council, the police department, and the rest of the community to put an end to the regulatory traffic stops that I think provide a sense of fear and danger for both police officers and for residents. And so I think it's something that we can do together. I think it's something that we've seen surrounding communities do without rising rates of violence or community disturbance. So I think that that's something we can consider. We've considered it before. I think it's something that's important to take a step into showing the community that we can come closer together, especially in the times now where we see the division on the rise. This is something the city can do to take a step forward to the community because I think that it's important that we empower the community to start helping us to govern holistically. And I think that that starts with us giving some of the power that we have back to the community so that we can start to govern together, to become stronger. And I think that that starts with us ending these regulatory stops, ending the safety frisk practices, which are very difficult for me to understand, along with just empowering our community and letting them know that they do hold the power to determine how they would like to be governed. And so I think, yeah, these are steps that we can take to move forward. And I think that we're inviting you to all join us in this conversation to figure out how we can take these steps forward, not if we need to take these steps, because I think it's very clear that we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that closes our speakers from the floor portion of our agenda. We now go on to the consent agenda, items G1 through G9. Moved by Dr. Wells, seconded by Mr. Holston. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. Now move on to the general business portion of our agenda. Item I.1 is an ordinance in the amount of $2,770,000. 905, amending the state, federal, and other grant fund budget for the appropriation of fiscal year 24 COPS hiring grant for 15 officers. Moved by Mrs. Hoffman, seconded by Mr. Matheny.
Is this the item that you just mentioned we will be discussing?
Yes.
So can we discuss it first? Everybody moves and then votes. I'd like to better understand this. I heard what one speaker said. And so while they think it's great, if they're hiring 15 more officers, what are they being hired for?
So they will be hired as an officer, go through the academy, and they will be assigned just like we assign any other police officer. We had a similar program to this, I think, back in the late 90s, early 2000. They were called the Clinton Cops. I know that we had gotten 30 at the time. The issue became then you had to figure out how to continue paying them after the 3 years. So this will pay for a portion of 15 officers for 3 years, and then council will have to figure out how to pay them through our regular budgeting. I will say that we've gone to DC on a number of times to talk to them about this grant. We originally received it, and I think it was for 30 officers, but what had happened was there was an unintended consequence since we had raised our salaries of starting officers so high that it became where we would not be able to maintain the additional 30 officers. Working with our legislators, specifically Tillis's office, I believe, we were able to amend that grant down to 15 because we felt that 15 was the number that we could sustain through the budget in an ongoing manner after the 3 years were up.
So are we contributing, as what I heard earlier, to this grant as well?
Yeah, so is it 30% for 3 years? What is our contribution during that 3-year period?
It's a little over 30% actually, and that's why we had to only do 15 because we just didn't have the budget dollars to do 30 and make up the difference. So we're adding 15 in the hopes that in coming years we'll have additional budget to add the additional 15 officers. The mayor mentioned we had spent some time in DC on this grant. We worked very closely with the COPS office there to make sure that we could do this in a responsible way for our budget while also taking advantage of the grant that was awarded to us.
So with that, is there some requirements that maybe we start to look more closely at community policing as opposed to just hiring police officers?
Well, ultimately, that would be a decision that the chief makes. We had community policing for many, many years.
Yes, Sylvester Daughtry wrote an article completely on it, and I've read it from 96 or 98, and it worked seemingly very well. He was police chief for a long time, and so I would certainly strongly urge with this grant and any others and the money we're putting in it, that is a request from us, listening to the community. They would like to see more of that. So we can, start to avoid some of these other issues that we hear about all the time when we talk about police accountability. Something is broke. We need to start fixing it. And right now, it's broke. And so perhaps, I've heard the community. I personally think community policing is the better way to go, to get out of the cars, meet the people in the neighborhood. Don't make assumptions about people because they stand on a corner. You never know why, or whatever, or how you can impact somebody simply by waving at them, speaking to them. Had a lady tell me recently over in your district, Dr. Wells, and she's like, they just ride by and turn their head. That's not community. That's not how we deserve to be treated. We're putting money into a police force. They should be more neighborly and amenable to our community if we're going to utilize tax dollars for this. So.
And Madam Mayor, if I could want to ask a question. So just to clarify, we're proposing with this action tonight that we would be bringing in 15 new, because originally we had talked about, or the grant was for 30. Are we saying that it's just going to be 15, or it's just 15 now?
We're saying 15 now, and we hope to be able to add the additional 15 either next budget year or the budget year after that. And this would be adding positions to the police department, so strengthening our force.
What percent of the dollars are being expended with the 15 now?
Under this,
of the grant?
I think I know what you're asking. We're going to have to cover a little over 30% at the city level, and the grant would cover the remaining.
What is the total amount of the grant from the COPS grant?
About $2.8 million.
And are those all federal dollars, or is that federal and city dollars?
That's the federal dollars.
Okay, so then with these 15, how much of the federal dollars are being expended? 1.9?
No, so I think I misspoke. The full amount of the grant was around 5.7, I believe, okay. 5.65, something like that. So this is the amount of federal dollars we would be spending, would be the 2.8.
So there's another 2.2, so to speak. So there could be another series of officers that comes out of this?
Yes, sir.
Based upon funding and the matching by the city?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Then secondly, to co-sign, and I think I've forgotten who said it tonight from the audience, but community policing is a very strong basis for policing because it does engage the residents. They are a part of the solution, and when we find that citizens are a part of the solution, then the solution is stronger and holds longer. So I would encourage, Mr. City Manager, that we encourage Chief Thompson to have and continue to implement community policing for the strength of all of our communities.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So we have a motion, I believe, by Mrs.
So
Hoffman.
I just have one more question. So we're amending this for $62,000, but you're saying the total grant is $5 million?
That's correct, because we're not adding all of the officers, so we can't use all of the grant money. We can only use the grant money that we need for the amount of officers that we're adding.
So $5 million over 3 years for 15 officers.
Was the full amount of the grant if we were able to take advantage of it right now, which from a budget perspective, we were not.
So since we cut it in half, why would we need to put any city money in it? We cut from 30 to 15.
Sure. The city dollars supplant what's remaining after we spend the grant. So because of our starting salary, that $2.8 million will not fully cover the salaries of 15 officers. We have to add additional city funding, and that's the way the grant is written. You cannot reduce the size of your police department to make that money up. You have to find it somewhere else. And so the way that we chose to fund it is we are freezing 6 positions in the police department to have the budget dollars that we need to make it kind of net neutral, but while still taking advantage of the grant and making up our difference.
I think also the premise of the grant was a matching grant for the federal government to pay 70% and the local government, us in this case, to pick up the other 30%.
Right, but are we getting a grant for $5 million or $2.8 million?
Right now, we are only taking advantage of $2.77905. If we are able to come up with the remaining city dollars we need to add the additional 15 officers, we will use all of the grant funding.
By the end of 3 years?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Because we do have a motion by Ms. Hoffman, seconded by Mr. Mazzini. Council, please vote. And that passes 8-1. Item I.2 is an ordinance to amend Coliseum Limited Obligation Bond Fund 525 in the amount of $1,397,209 for seat risers. Moved by Mr. Holston, seconded by Mrs. Abuzawader. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. Our final item of the evening is item I.3, which is a resolution approving contract for $3,536,775.36 with Hexagon for the purpose of continuing the use EAM as the city's asset and work management system. Moved by Mrs. Sturm, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. Council, please vote.
How long is this contract for?
5 years.
5 years. So there's no opportunity for anybody else to learn this type of work or for you to find somebody else who does this work?
Mr. Davis?
We recommend the 5-year period for financing purposes, but this is a relatively narrow, competitive market. I don't know that we find much out there in terms of other competitors who could beat the price and the service that we've been getting from this firm.
So they're self-performing this service with no, and I just actually met a company last weekend who actually does this work. So it seems that our focus is very narrow. We don't bother to look for anybody. We just get comfortable with whoever we know. And now we give them 5 to 7 year contracts. Just got to do better.
And that passes 8-1. That is the end of our printed agenda. Let's see, boards and commissions. Mrs. Hightower?
I am appointing Jasmine Quick Miller to the Board of Adjustment.
And what seat will she be filling? Was that Drew's?
That to replace Drew Wofford, who resigned due to being.
So that has been seconded by Mrs. Sturm. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously.
And I would like to appoint Marcus Miller to the ABC Board.
And what seat are they?
It's a District 1 seat. I'm forgetting who's there now, but I haven't put anybody on that board in quite a while.
Is there a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye. That's all. That's all I have.
That's all. Dr. Wells?
No, Mayor, you still haven't appointed the lady to the Housing Authority Board.
And who is that
Miss
person, Sharon?
Miss Vincent.
And is that for the resident?
No, she's not the resident. Yeah, she's not the resident. We've not been very successful in getting a resident. Residents tend to feel like there's going to be retaliation if they serve on the board. So all the residents I've spoken to have all turned it down.
Okay. I'm sorry, could you give me her name again?
I want to say it's Teresa Vincent. Or Valerie Vincent. I'm sorry, Valerie Vincent.
Valerie Vincent.
Valerie Vincent.
Okay.
Yeah, and Destiny sent you her resume probably about 2.5, 3 months ago.
I will move Valerie Vincent. You'll second that?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Wells? Mr. Mazzini? Mrs. Hoffman?
I'd like to reappoint Catherine Rowe to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Seconded by Mrs. Thurm. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Mrs. Thurm?
Yes, I'd like to appoint Alina Spalding to the Board of Adjustment to fill one of the open slots that Attorney Covich talked about last week.
Okay. Second. Okay, that is moved and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed? That passes unanimously. Mayor Pro Tem? None. Mr. Holston? Ms. Pinder? Okay. I do have two reappointments to the PTRWA, the Piedmont Triad Water Authority. The first one is Tom Phillips.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and the second one is Robbie Bald.
Second.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
That passes 8-1. Comments? Mrs. Hightower?
My first comment is to request, and I've already stated it earlier, that we hear from GC Jack. Can we do that at our next business meeting, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'm working on a few things. Actually, I'm going to send you all an email. There's a previous 2020 work session that we discussed the written consent, so I want to refresh that. At the time, we did modify the policy and also had a discussion around written consent or some of the things that you heard tonight. There's also a reminder of some things that are in our current policy that may be helpful, but I just want to provide that to council so you can know some things we've done historically, but then also moving forward. And if I could suggest, I think this topic could be better served if we provide a work session on the topic. That way we can have better discussion and better dialogue, and I can make sure that GC Jack has reviewed and are prepared to speak on it, if that's acceptable.
Work session would be fine. I just need to hear from them and the numbers, and to hear some of the data tonight from some of the speakers who say there's some report, the lady who referenced it from the League of Women Voters, some report done that we tend to be, but the numbers varied, 50 to 52 to 53%. Blacks tend to be of the stops that do occur here in the city. I'd like to know, has somebody seen that report? Has GC Jack seen it as well? And then how does it compare to our numbers, the numbers here, actually?
Yes, ma'am.
So I would like to hear from that as well. And then finally, I just think I want to wish Miss Catherine Barber, I think I may have done it already, 100 years for her birthday. She is the widow of Jimmy I. Barber, who was the first black city councilman, and Barber Park is named after. So happy birthday to her, 100 years old, young. And then congratulations to Mount Zion Baptist Church and Novant Health for the announcement of their relationship and partnership that starts as part of a $100 million project that's going to be on Alamance Church Road and Willow Road that will consist of senior living, fellowship hall, apartments, townhomes, and the medical center, which will start actually going into operation even before the building starts coming out of the ground, which I think is certainly certain that Southeast Greensboro is looking forward to. It's something being asked for quite a while. And so Monday, we celebrated that announcement with them, but it was huge. And it'll have a great impact on the community, particularly in the east of Greensboro. You know, coupled with Windsor Chavis and coupled with A&T, who's got the resurgence going on. There actually are a lot of good things that are occurring in that area. And it's a time to celebrate those, but not forget that we still have more work to do in that regard. But Mount Zion being very, I think, intentional about creating this relationship with Novant Health, which is really going to impact a healthcare desert that we need to see corrected. So I want to really thank the leaders of Mount Zion, Pastor Brian Pierce, Odell Cleveland, and all the members, and then Novant Health as well, for doing this and being very strategic about it. So I'm excited to see it come to fruition. So I really want to thank them for that. Thank you. And finally, and I'll announce this next month, we are naming a park, basketball court, after Bob McAdoo, who grew up in the Bimbo Park area. And so that park, on September 21st, we will be celebrating that announcement as well. He will be here with us as well. So thank you.
Sharon, before we move on, the ABC appointment that was up for reappointment was Cassandra Brown, and she's my appointment.
Is she yours?
And I would reappoint her.
Because I've had one for years, actually. I think the
So I think we have to hold off on what Mrs. Hightower, because Cassandra can do another term, and she was my appointment.
Yeah, because when I talked to Destiny, I knew I had a vacancy where I asked her specifically to send me all the vacancies, because I do not like the boards and commission manager system that you currently have, Mr. City Manager, in effect. It's very confusing. You don't know. And so I asked her, Destiny, to go through it for me, and she did so, and I appreciate her doing that. She does great work, and I appreciate her. It needs to be clearer. It's very not clear at all, so we can go back and revisit it.
Yeah,
but I have not had anybody on ABC for years.
So I want to reappoint Cassandra Brown. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Comments, Dr. Wells?
Well, I don't do it all the time. Tonight, every comment, people that came to the mic, I listed them. We had 20 people speak, and 10 of them were on one subject. Now, the reason I'm a little disturbed is because I worked on the committee, and I think Stern, we worked on the committee for the consent form, that there would be a form that folks had to sign before they were searched. I don't know what happened to that, but I think we need to find it.
We took a vote. We took a vote.
You took a vote, but it failed.
It failed.
And so it failed. But in light of what's happening now and what has happened, we need to resurrect it somehow or another. Now, I don't know how you do that, but we need to change it. It's no need, and we all know that racism is here. We know the color of our skin makes a difference. And for somebody said that the person had been stopped 4 times, and he asked about when it's harassment. That seems like it rises to that level. It doesn't make sense for us to know something has happened. I voted for us to do the matching for the police because we do need police. We need more police, but we don't need police that are not doing fairly for our citizens. And we can sit up here like we don't know it, but we do. And when 10 folks out of the 20 talked about the same thing, so it's not just a happenstance. This is critical. I don't know how the legal department, how we can do something about it so it can come up for a vote again, because I think that all of us sitting up here, I don't know which council voted it down, but I think those of us sitting up here have enough and heard enough to do something about that. So that's really my concern, and I hope that we can have some change about this. It's not fair. We see it happening all over the country, but we don't have to be the ones doing it just because it's happening all over the country.
That's true.
So, other comment I have to make is that tomorrow night is National Night Out. District 2 is expecting 25 sites tomorrow night. And you know, year before last, I made 25 of those spots. I don't know whether I'm gonna do it tomorrow night or not, but the National Night Out is a time when neighbors come out and enjoy each other, cookouts and ice cream and whatever. So on tomorrow night, we'll go to National Night Out, and then Thursday night, I'd like to invite those who live in Northeast Greensboro to the Concerned Citizens of Northeast Greensboro. Our meeting will be at Peeler Center at 7 o'clock, and you can come and learn more about what's happening in Northeast Greensboro. And I know a lot of people have been asking about the pallet homes, and they want to know what's happening in that area. So come to the meeting, and you'll hear from city staff about that. Thank you.
And Dr. Wells, I believe that for neighbors who don't have an actual neighborhood, that there is a barbecue, a get-together over right across the street at police headquarters. So for people who want to get out and meet people and talk about safety, and if you don't have a neighborhood that's formed, or if your neighborhood is not celebrating National Night Out, certainly come down to police headquarters, and there'll be similar functions going on there. I think this is the second year they've had a combined National Night Out.
Madam Mayor, I have one other thing I need to insert before everybody else. On next Tuesday night, August 12th, there is a Department of Transportation meeting at Faulkner Elementary School. Franklin Boulevard will be closed for 3 years as they redesign the road and move the train track over the road, so that hopefully that will start to eliminate all the deaths that we've seen people along the railroad track. So that road will be closed detours for school buses, public transit, walkers, everyone will be greatly impacted for the next 3 years. So there will be a public meeting August 12th. That's next Tuesday from 4 to 7, an informational meeting so that you all can understand what is about to occur. And so please come out, because whether you live in that area or not, you travel that area, and it's going to impact travel for quite a minute. So it's a great improvement, though, for the area, and so we appreciate North Carolina DOT doing it, but it's taken us years to get it done. I believe we started talking about in 2019, was it, Mary Kay? 20. I think right around then, yes. So it just shows you sometimes things do take time. Planning does take time, and it's funded. And so thankfully, that's an important piece, that it got funded. And so it will happen. So you'll see a great change in 3 years' time, but it's going to be nice. So please come out. Faulkner Elementary. Thank you.
Zach?
Mr. Manager, thank you for sending this work session overview from that conversation. Was it taken up? This is about, it's in everybody's inbox, about what was discussed tonight, because I've got to catch up. Was it discussed at a council meeting? I see GC Jack's recommendations. I see the written consent form. But I'm just curious.
Yeah, and we'll gather better history to make sure. I just wanted you all to have something pretty quickly tonight. At the time, this was back in 2020, there were similar concerns that you heard tonight. There was some discussion then at the time. Brian James was the police chief. We worked with both GC Jack as well as GPD. I want to make sure I get you the accurate narrative or the history of how we landed where we landed. But I can tell you where we landed was a modification of the policy with some additions that I believe at the time was satisfactory to council. Of course, the bigger discussion, as you heard tonight, was written consent. There was some consideration of changing the verbiage in the body-worn camera policy and how things, the interactions took place with the officers when they did encounter somebody in these scenarios. But again, I'll make sure the council has all of that as we approach a better review.
So it looks like this was a work session on August 11th. So you think that would have been discussed at a council meeting in September, like the second meeting in September?
I'd have to go back and look just to give you the right information.
Well, that's what, yeah. So I can go look.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you for sending that, and thanks for the discussion tonight. I'm good.
You know, one thing about the consent, I felt strongly that having the videotape consent was more compelling than a piece of paper consent. And technology, when it comes to body-worn camera, has improved even since that discussion. And one of the things that we approved when we re-upped the body-worn camera funding was that now, the minute a police officer puts their blue lights on, their body-worn cameras are automatically turned on. There is a sensor that automatically, so that when they go to the car, whatever they say and do starts before they even make it to the car. Additionally, if the blue lights don't go on, but there is a reason for them to pull a gun or a taser, the body-worn camera, again, is immediately engaged. Before, officers had to manually engage their cameras, but now they are being engaged by sensors to make sure that they're on all the time, because officers might have said, well, I forgot to turn it on, or I didn't turn it on the right way. Well, right now, the sensors are doing that for them so that they know that everything is caught on the body-worn camera. And one of the things that we did during that discussion was obviously telling the driver that they had the right to refuse a search. They also had the right to change their mind. If they said, yes, you can search my car, and then a minute or two later they decide they don't want it, that they can say, no, stop searching. and all that is caught on body-worn camera.
And so that was the thinking when it was denied.
Correct. So
All right,
it
so
was.
that was the thinking. And so as you learn things and you see that doesn't work, it would be wise for us to make some changes.
I think it would
it's
be
not
wise
working.
for us to see the video also,
Yeah, but
to actually see.
we hear, and we see, and we know. Now, all this technology is good, and we can use that as a way of saying you don't need to say that, but we see what has happened with the use. You see the video and somebody's already shot, somebody's already been violated. The video doesn't help. They're gone. And maybe if they had said, no, I don't want it, maybe they might be here. So I still think we need to reconsider.
Right.
Mr. Matheny, were you through? Mrs. Thurm?
Did you have anything?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll call on her next.
Okay. A couple of things. Last week, I had a meeting with, gosh, it must have been 8 or 10 officers, along with probably 10 businesses, hoteliers, and other businesses on Westgate City Boulevard, in and around the Interstate 40 overpass. And we spoke with had a large contingent of businesses there, and thank you to Assistant City Manager Harrell for helping to arrange that. We continue to have really awful problems at those hotels in that area. I know we talked about possibly looking, there are 2 hotels that seem to be contributing to the problem, and we talked about, when we first met with them, a nuisance abatement and that taking that approach to those problem businesses. I really would like to see us pursue that and see what the options are and see where we are in that. We had some good discussion about what the businesses need to do, what Greensboro could do. But these hoteliers, we had a number of representatives that said that the Westgate City Boulevard version of their hotel is the worst in the United States. We have one hotel that has paid over $100,000 in repairs in the past year due to problems with homeless individuals that are breaking into the hotel, people that are living in the problem properties coming over to the respectable, quote, businesses. And just, it's a huge problem. We dealt with this a few years ago on Stanley Road with those hoteliers, but the problem continues to get worse. And we've got people thinking about leaving the area and leaving their businesses because we can't help get this under control. So I'd really like to see us seriously approach that problem and not let that go. In addition, in riding around my district over the weekend, I have an ongoing concern with the fact that our common area mowing and vegetation is contributing to the problem of trash throughout the district, throughout my district at least, and I suspect other districts as well, and throughout the entire city. Some of the growth is 3 and 4 feet tall on sidewalk areas, public sidewalk areas. There are some sidewalks on North Battleground that I wouldn't walk the sidewalk for fear of getting ticks and insect bites and that kind of thing. I'd really like us to take another look, and I know it's a big budget item, But I'd like us to take another look at some of the street right-of-ways and the lack of mowing that's going on. You know, when it was raining all the time, I understood that. And I know we're playing catch-up. We had a week of solid rain and then a week where nothing happened but the sun shined and we got really tall grass. But some of this has been going on a long time and for the bulk of the summer. But I think the complaints that I hear and I see and that I actually make about trash along our roadways, part of that is it doesn't appear that we are keeping up the mowing, and I think that just encourages people. If we don't care about that property and what that property looks like, then people driving through don't care and end up throwing out their trash out the window or setting it in the street at the stoplight or whatever. So I'd like us to take a look at that and see what options we have, whether we need to take another look at that or how we might be able to address that issue.
Tammy, I have already addressed that over here on the east side. It's been going on for years. It's not well taken care of. Okay, but that's the problem. And we need to have probably more mowing contractors. You know, that's an opportunity for black small business who have a lot of landscaping. But we've cut that out. We've cut back on contractors like that. So that's part of the issue. Grass is not being cut in a timely manner. I send pictures every other day. Hampton Elementary, I send pictures all the time. The grass is high in the right-of-ways, on the sidewalks. So, I mean, we need to get more contractors back working to do this. We got to clean the city up. So it's been going on for quite a while. It's not new. It's just not being addressed properly. And we're cutting back in areas that we shouldn't be cutting back on.
Actually, we did just vote on a contract with minority business on lawn mowing because I was asked to recuse myself for the lawnmower, So I know we just did that.
You
so
need more than one. You can't take one. This place is big. This city is big. You can't just have one.
So what I was going to ask, Mr. Manager, has that contract gone through? Are we dragging it out? And how many others do we have?
No, we'll make sure we get you a full update on it.
2 meetings ago?
It's been a
So
minute.
sometimes, we need to fast track it, basically.
Yeah.
Well, we slow on everything we do. You know that.
Tamara, are you through? Mrs. Hoffman.
I just really want to tee us up for North Carolina Folk Festival. We're about 5.5 weeks out, and Folk Festival this year is moving. It's 1 week later than normal. You know, for 10 years, we've been the weekend after Labor Day, and this year we've moved it 1 week forward. So it's September 12, 13, and 14. Last year was wonderful. Not only the performances and the talent lineup, but we had 3 beautiful days of perfect weather. So I hope maybe we'll be lucky enough to reproduce that this year, which is the kind of weather that the Wyndham had this weekend. You know, thanks to our executive director, Jody Rupel, who's just done a stellar job of really jumping in almost at the last minute last year and guiding us through a great festival last year and in what I think will even be a better one this year. So just wanted to alert our citizens out there. This is a free event. We raise money to make it free, about $1.5 million. So please put that on your calendars.
And they need volunteers. So
Always need volunteers, yes.
I would encourage council, I know I've signed up for a couple shifts, I'd encourage all of council to volunteer. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to be out and about and enjoy the festival and help as well.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, when you, with your team, work up a work session for us,
I would definitely like to, I made some notes here, along the lines with hearing so many concerns this evening. I would like to make sure that it includes Chief to explain about our community policing and what has transpired there. Of course, the consent, I would like to hear quite a bit about that to make sure. At one time, I understood that the officer would have to go back to the car, and in that case, it would take 2 officers, I think, to make sure that one had the consent form. I just want to hear the explanation and the consideration of what can be done. I know the mayor mentioned about the body-worn camera, also about the regulatory stops and the frisking. I think that's meaning the pat-downs that are done in certain instances. So I really think hearing about all of these things, we did get quite a few concerns this evening, and I would certainly like to hear what we can from the chief, community engagement, and whoever else might be able to give us some expertise on things. Thank you. I did want to mention about the celebration about the water tower at Revolution Mill. Laura Blackstock and Concerned Citizens of Northeast Greensboro has always championed wanting to get that done. And Dr. Wells, I know that you are proud of the fact that it is done. It's beautiful. I did want to piggyback on the Mount Zion announcement. Several of us were in attendance, and it was a really, really heartwarming event, being able to see. I have to say, Mount Zion's always been very involved in the community. You know, I know the mayor had mentioned and a few other council members that, you know, during COVID, they opened up their church for vaccinations, health care, all the things that a community would need. And seeing this come to fruition is going to help the community even more. Everyone, Bishop Pierce was talking about how reaching out into the community can certainly make all of our communities better. So I just want to commend them. Of course, National Night Out is tomorrow evening. That's already been discussed. Please, if you don't have a National Night Out in your neighborhood, as the mayor said, please go downtown. The Wyndham was great. I wasn't able to go very much, but when I did, it was really nice. And Cameron Young from Wake Forest was the winner. Let's see what else. Oh, I did want to ask, can we find out, I know there's concerns about mowing. We've got several places all over the city, but part of those roads are state roads, and NCDOT is the one to take care of them. Can we find out what can be done? Because I know especially along Battleground, that tends to be the case. So if we could find out for that, I think it would be very helpful. Thank you. And I think that's it. Oh, I wanted to wish my husband a happy birthday today. I'm here at council, and I think his staff got him a birthday cake, so happy birthday.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Mr. Holston?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of things here. I'm gonna jump on this bandwagon again about Mount Zion. Having this past Sunday week, they shared the announcement with the congregation. Then on the Monday was the press conference. But a $100 million investment is strong. It's strong for a variety of reasons, and we're just very happy that Bishop Pierce and Reverend Odell Cleveland and Bishop Brooks and the entire Mount Zion family have come together. But they've come together, but they've also reached out to the community and made sure that the community knew what was going on and how it was going on, and also making sure that those amenities on the property are going to be available to the community, not just to those members of the church. And that's strong. That's strong for East Greensboro. That's strong for Greensboro, period. And I really couldn't be any happier. As Bishop Pierce said it, Mount Zion puts in the work. And this is definitely evidence of them putting in the work. National Night Out is tomorrow night. Encourage all the communities to be out and engaged. And I think the weather's going to be good. So get out and engage. You know, it's amazing that as we as council members travel across the district or the city, we see Well, I've been to events that are as simple as somebody has a charcoal grill and there are 5 people standing around it, to one where you have a community that has catered brisket and brie. But what happens is that you have people together and networking and talking and engaging at each and every one of them. Not one is any better than the other, because it really is about folks engaging and connecting with one another and building that sense of community. Speaking of community, I have to highlight a young man tonight who spoke in front of us, Mr. Terrell Williams. He had some words that really struck with me. And it's real simple, but the more you think about it, the more impactful it is. How do we keep each other safe? It's a real simple question. But it really applies to each and every one of us in each and every one of the roles that we play, whether we're a resident in the city, whether we're a member of law enforcement, public safety, whether we're a member of city staff, whether we're a member of city council. That's a question that we should be asking each other. You know, we've talked about body-worn cameras. We talked about regulatory stops. We talked about safety frisks. We talked about written consent. We talked about community policing. But this is going to take us having those conversations from a legislative standpoint, maybe driving those decisions. But a lot of folks have spoken out about this. There is a history, Dr. Wells, in this community, in this nation. Madam Mayor, you're correct. There is evidence of body cam. But we've got to find a way to come together and find a way to find out how do we keep each other safe. And I commit to working with that and working with council and with our residents to figure that out. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Pinder?
I would agree with a lot of what's already been said, but just really want to lift up again in Councilman Hughes when you said, how do we keep each other safe? And that kind of just hit heavy for me because, again, it's shared accountability and it takes all of us. So it can't just be one part or one body or one institution that does that. And so, and then also referencing back but it's how we do that. So I, again, look forward to City Manager Davis. What's the time frame in which we will have this work session? Because this is the second meeting that we've had individuals from community, and thank you for coming and continue that consistency to bring it before us. But it's now, right? And how are we meeting this moment now, because things aren't getting any better. So would like to know the time frame in which we can have this work session so that we can be more informed on, you know, written consent, as we've heard, informed consent, frisking versus searching, but then also going back to the many different, because again, it's a shared accountability. So where we have the GC Jack and then the community resource officers, PRNC. So again, it's going to take all of us being able to come together and not just one and done conversations, but really have intentional conversations on what is the next, you know, the next step forward and how we can all do this, and know that it's not going to happen overnight, because again, it didn't happen overnight how we got to this place, but making sure we're walking away with some intentional next steps on everybody can walk away and say, yes, I feel heard and I feel seen, and we have something where all of our citizens here feel safe. I would also, I feel like everybody said a lot of stuff, but I'm going to repeat it again. When we talk about when you talk about safety as well, and when you're talking about you're less likely to have harm when you're talking about blight in communities. And when you do drive in the city, there are, be it District 1, District 2, 3, 4, or 5, there are opportunities for just the basic landscaping to be addressed. But again, being mindful, some of it's city and then some of it's state. So having that clarification, I think, will prove to be very helpful, because again, that it really impacts how people show up and feel in their community. Again, going back to safety and that shared accountability, National Night Out is tomorrow, but it's not just a one and done. So take that opportunity when you are fellowshipping within your community, or if you feel like you don't have a community coming down to downtown, walking away with an intentional next step so that we all, again, are responsible for the safety and engagement in our community. I would echo also Mount Zion's investment that they're making in Southeast Greensboro to make sure that we address the provider and medical desert that we have. But would also like to lift up, happened to go to North Carolina A&T's mobile care unit ribbon cutting, which is going to have 2 mobile units out in the community, one from an economic mobility standpoint with introducing healthcare careers to those in the community, and then also another unit when we're talking about that prevention. And so that is huge. So what are those early interventions that we have? Because again, we know we have healthy people, you have healthy communities, and so I think that was an awesome opportunity to see those 2 units that you will start to be able to see out in the community as well. And I mean, we're getting there, but one of the things when we talked about looking at cleaning up and the lawn care and things of that nature, Summit Avenue. So I know that there has been work along the Summit Avenue corridor with cleaning up and addressing some of the loitering and the trash. And so hopefully many of the residents over in Northeast Greensboro have seen some of that cleanup and the intentionality to making sure that corridor is starting to look a little bit different. And just as we're talking about safety, safe and healthy housing is also really important, and just want to make sure I echo the opportunity for those that are looking at becoming first-time home buyers, that there are programs to be able to help with that first-time home buying assistance and down payment assistance that we happen to pass in our last budget. So that's an opportunity also to be able to help those as we're addressing the housing gap that we have. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, as you have said, what can we do to keep each other safe? You know, one thing that I thought about, which we've talked a lot about lately, is traffic. Sharon, you've talked about the red light cameras and what is it that we can do to make each other safe. We've had 21 traffic fatalities this year. You know, I'd ask everybody to slow down. That is definitely an immediate impact that we can all have as we see people racing around the city in every single district, going through red lights, speeding. You know, if we made a concentrated effort just to slow down through our neighborhoods, through the city, we could have a real impact on a number of people. Those are just traffic fatalities. That is not even traffic injuries. So when we talk about safety, I think we need to look at it from a holistic standpoint. And when we say, what can we do? That is one thing that each and every one of us can do, is slow down and watch what we're doing and look out for people driving around us. We had the Wyndham tournament in town last week. The City of Greensboro showed well on TV. The PGA estimated that there was a $25 million economic development when it came to broadcasting. It ended up in over 200 countries. It was broadcast in 25 languages, and they estimate that it played in 1.3 billion homes. That is a huge number to see the City of Greensboro. You know, it said Wyndham, Greensboro, North Carolina. If you watched it on TV, you saw it was literally beaming all over the world. That is great publicity for the City of Greensboro. That is not something we could ever buy. But not only was there that media impact, there was the impact on our hotels, motels, restaurants, and shops. People coming and spending their money. I want to say thank you to all the volunteers. There were over 1,200 volunteers who make that tournament run every single year. I do know that when the Folk Festival first started, they actually went to the Wyndham tournament to help recruit volunteers for the folk festival, and there were a lot of people who did both. And we are grateful for the volunteers that we have in our community, because they make a whole lot of things work for our city. Because there is no way that the folk festival could pay that many people when it comes to volunteering, and certainly the Wyndham couldn't. So I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who spent time out on the course making it a reality, so when the 1.3 billion homes around the world who saw the City of Greensboro, they saw it in the best light possible. Mr. City Manager?
No updates tonight, but we have heard the request from council. Also definitely heard the request from the community to ensure that we provide adequate feedback. I think there are a couple of other things I know a few of you have provided, whether it's emails or phone calls or text messages, to ensure that some of our areas are either cleaned up or look better. So we'll make sure that we continue to provide those. I know some of the roadways may be different, but part of that is for us to ensure that if they're not our responsibility, that we communicate with our partners at NCDOT. So you will get an update from me later this week. I want to make sure I provide you with the right information. I do know these topics are very important to each of you, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney?
Just wanted to make, wanted to make clear that you all understand the process about the petition for the BWC. I think I interchanged some words earlier. So in order for the BWC to be disclosed, you have to be someone that's on there, your voice or your image or a representative of someone. In order for it to be released, and since you all are considered a public body, I will have to petition the court to allow it to be released to you all for the limited purpose of viewing and seeing what happened and trying to figure out next steps. I will file that petition tomorrow if all of you are okay with that. Get it on the docket for Monday. We will ask for that, and I need to know if you all want to call a closed session to view that, or if you want to wait for this work session.
Well, the new legislation, the judge has up to 30 days to make that determination whether we can watch the body-worn camera. I would say if we are able to watch it, I think as soon as possible.
And the judge does have up to 30 days, but here in Guilford County, they like to put it on the next available docket and make that decision. I'll speak with Chief Thompson. I've sent you all an email. The only thing I can think that it may be denied is because it is in an internal investigation. So I just wanted to make you aware, but I will file that petition tomorrow.
Thank you.
Madam Attorney, could you also, it's concerning, you're talking about profiling the gentlemen or the people, the young men that were stopped another 4 times, I heard. Could you give us a little more information about what happened?
I've already started working on that with ACM Harold. So
I think that would be important for us to know. Thank you.
I'll get that information to you hopefully tomorrow also.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn? All in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.